The only ticket that was trying to oppose the two parties just quit. Bobby Kennedy joined Trump. What is this really about? Was it a good move? Who better to ask than his running mate? Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s running mate is, of course, Nicole Shanahan, who did virtually no press during the campaign. Now, she's one of these mega donors, but she actually put her money where her mouth was and got involved in the process. I don't have any problem with people spending their own money. She spent like $19, $20 million of her own money with Kennedy. I have no problem with that. Do with your money what you want. She's open and transparent about it. She previously gave over $100 million to help elect Democrats, but now she says she too is endorsing Trump. Why? She's here to explain. Nicole Shanahan joins us now. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Chris? Good to see you.
Thank you for taking this opportunity. And first, what do you make of my lament and exposure of how much money is now motivating the game?
It's refreshing to see, Chris. You just did a really great breakdown. $10 billion estimated to go into this campaign. What is that money being used for? Well, I can tell you. It's being used to take out opponents. And I can tell you the Democrats, even though they've raised less from their top 10 donors, they've put an enormous amount of money compared to the Republicans to take out third parties. PACs specifically designed to take them out. We haven't had any of that from the Republican Party, and that has been a real learning experience for us. Could have never expected it, anticipate it, but it had a really big impact on me and how I've been trying to assess where that party actually is today, where the Republican Party is. Neither is great, as you mentioned. Both kind of are in the pockets of big business, but there are certain principles that are foundational to protecting our democracy. I think one of those principles is allowing third parties to have a free and fair opportunity to compete. And the lesson here today is that, you know, we're at a time where, as a third party, we had to decide if we were going to create a coalition. We had to figure out what our priorities were going to be. We were going to stick to our script around chronic health. That is our #1 priority, has always been. And so here we are today.
So how did you feel about suspending the campaign and joining Trump? Just to be transparent, I thought you guys, or at least Bobby, should have endorsed nobody, because I thought it would have given you more juice for the duration of this campaign, because you guys would have been commentators in chief, and you could have endorsed later in the process, but he decided to do it now. Were you in favor, and if so, why?
You know, let's be clear. The power of a third party, an independent movement, is to endorse ideas, not people. I'm not a Kamala Democrat, nor am I a Trump Republican. What I am is an independent American, focused, laser focused on the issues. What we did on Friday was amazing because we crossed the chasm. We found somebody who was willing to put these ideas on center stage. Millions of people, for the first time, heard Bobby's voice. Millions of people were starting to acknowledge how big of an issue the chronic health disease crisis is in this country. This is not a fringe issue anymore. Bobby is not a fringe person, as he's been mired by the MSM. He is front and center, focusing on what Americans care about most, and he had almost 30,000 people on stage on Friday shouting his name. And, you know, President Trump, to his credit, put out a hand, shook his hand and said, let's do this. Let's engage on ideas that matter. Let's engage on policies that matter. We don't have to agree on everything. This is not us being absorbed into the Trump camp by any measure. This is a partnership. This is a meeting of the minds with strong boundaries and expectations.
What are the boundaries?
Well, I think the thing is we don't overlap perfectly, but we do overlap on 5 key things, and we got to stick to those 5 key things. That is free speech, very important, anti-war, ending these endless wars we're in overseas, putting that money back into America, putting Americans first, really trying to figure out how to create stability in our foreign policy. Chronic health, obviously, this is the biggest one. We want families to know that they are going to be met with credible health care, honest health care, and no more censorship. That's a really, really big one. So as long as we stay within these core principles of this coalition, we're going to do great things, and I have great optimism.
Two concerns. One is just, something to note. The other one is something to chew on for the rest of our time. There's something to note is, the Republicans aren't talking about it now, but they always had as a signature move when it comes to health care, removing the ACA in favor of basically nothing. Right now, they've gotten quiet about it because it's become so unpopular as people have gotten more and more access to health care. But I don't know that Trump is anywhere near what Bobby and I have spoken about when it comes to access to health care and stuff. They want to privatize it in a way that is not necessarily going to be good for regular families. Give me a quick take on that.
Well, you know what we do agree on? We agree on farming. We agree on fresh food. We agree on clean water. We agree on school choice. We agree on the power of sunshine and getting kids outside being kids. And, I guarantee you, Chris, that if we focus on just cleaning up our food supply, we're going to need a lot less dollars, especially government dollars, dedicated to healthcare.
I'm with you.
$4.6 trillion right now.
I'm with you. I know the numbers. My wife started a company called The Purist that is absolutely about this. It's all about wellness and responsible behavior. But remember, Trump is about removing regulations from businesses, not putting in ones that made Bobby so effective with the Riverkeeper. One other thing. I had saw your note, and I wanted to talk to you about this anyway, and we can do a longer conversation about it as we get into the next administration, whoever it is. You said, I'm not good with Trump until he says Operation Warp Speed was a mistake. He will never say Operation Warp Speed was a mistake because it was his signature achievement. And the vaccine is absolutely something that he believes, with good reason, made a big difference early on. Now, in terms of the mandates and the disclosures later with the variants, that's something that needs attention. But you really believe Trump is going to go bad on his signature achievement during the pandemic?
Again, the mandates were the problem. And let's talk about that. We do have agreement with Trump that mandates are an issue and that people should have full informed consent before putting anything in their body or doing anything to their body. So that's well established. On the issue of Operation Warp Speed, I will say he has admitted just recently today in an interview that he did put people into positions in government that he now regrets. And these are things he does not foresee doing again. He's got Bobby by his side now. He should have had Bobby by his side in his first term. None of this would have happened. And with Bobby by his side, we're going to have the best partnership around health this country has ever seen. We're going to have a conscience around making sure we don't let Pfizer run our Vaccine Safety Commission. We are going to have objectivity and objective truth at NIH and the CDC. We're not going to have another situation in which Fauci's firing 2 scientists because they're disagreeing with certain aspects of the safety of the mRNA vaccine. I mean, that was just wildly inappropriate to fire 2 top specialists during Operation Warp Speed. And again, I think Trump learned a lot. We're not absorbed into this. We are a coalition, which means that we can be loud and objective, and we can present an opposition when it is necessary.
What guarantee do you have of any power over these issues in the administration? And 2, why are you, who's known for being a savvy person, so quick to trust that Donald Trump will deliver on what he says?
Well, so to answer your second question first, look, where we are right now is we have taken a year. Bobby's been running for over a year. We have across this nation, we have talked to Americans. We have met people from all ends of the political spectrum, which is what you should be doing if you are running for a representative office. You should be
100%.
out there listening. And our job is to bring that voice to whomever is going to be sincere in their reception to hearing the American public, where they're hurting, what is going on. I mean, farmers. Like, farmers are so underrepresented right now. And this is why I brought up some of my criticisms of Kamala Harris's food cap economic policy, right? Or food price capping. Farmers are on their knees in this country right now. They are not price gouging. To say that our farmers are price gouging when they are already on their knees, who can I take that message to today? You tell me,
that's a fair
Chris,
criticism.
who's going to listen to
That's
me?
fair criticism.
Because I have taken this message for years to the Democratic Party, and I cannot get through to anybody. It's not like this has happened overnight. I didn't wake up one morning and say, what a great idea it would be to leave the Democratic Party. No, I tried everything in my capability to get through to someone who would listen and hear this actual science, to hear the people on the ground, to listen to American voices. And we've got to judge people by their reactions. We got to judge people by the people around them. And right now, Trump has some really good people around him, and he's willing, he's more than willing to listen. He wants to listen, understand, verify, and then say, all right, who's going to help me get this done? And Bobby has been right up there next to him being like, I will get this done with you.
So the only thing I want to know is, have you guys discussed an actual job or a position for Bobby? And what about you?
You know, Bobby and Trump have their own relationship. I fully endorse it. I would love to see this as a true coalition government. You know, this is not something we talk about here in the United States, but in other democracies, coalitions are very, very common. So in a coalition government, Bobby would be in charge to represent our movement, our party, our voices within this cabinet. And I have full faith that, you know, Trump is going to honor that. As for me, my job right now is to remain as independent as I did on day one when I left the Democratic Party. I'm here to listen to Democrats, Republicans, independents, and the like. I'm here to be a voice for the voiceless. I'm here to make sure and be vigilant that we don't walk away or turn our eyes on anything right now, because this election is critical. And I want people to have a source to go to, an objective source that's been in it, that will not shy away from telling the truth.
Nicole Shanahan, I appreciate you taking this opportunity, and I don't care who you guys are aligned with. You have an invitation here to discuss these issues as they will continue to matter. We haven't had any kind of real fact-finding or reckoning. I don't count what Congress is doing when it comes to the pandemic. It's all posturing. And I think there absolutely should be one. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.